Hello, everybody. This is Scott Mills from the Magnolia Swarm Beekeepers Club. I'd like to take a couple of minutes to talk to you about a topic that we discussed on our September 3rd, 2024 club meeting, and hopefully get your help and input on this. So, the topic I'd like to discuss for just a few minutes is honeybee mating areas. So let's start off by talking about, in general, how all of this happens. So when a colony decides that the conditions are right for it to reproduce, for it to contribute its genetics to the local gene pool, one of the first things that happens is that it starts producing drones. It will produce those drones. Those drones will go out on mating flights, and these drones will go out and they will congregate in to what is referred to as drone congregation areas. So all of the male bees from many colonies in the area will come together in one area that we refer to as a drone congregation area. And this is where the actual mating occurs. When a colony decides that they are going to produce new queens, either because it is time for them to swarm, split the colony, and generate a new queen for the old colony, or because the mother queen in a colony is starting to have poor health or is failing or has died or something like that. They will raise these new queens, and these virgin queens will leave the colony and they will go out and they will seek out those drone congregation areas. And in those drone congregation areas, the mating will occur, and the queen will mate with as many drones as are available. So ideally, a well-bred queen is going to have more than a dozen drones that she mates with, maybe 20. And there's a lot of competition. In this drone mating area, there are drones from every colony around. And so the biggest, baddest, strongest, healthiest drones hopefully outcompete the others. And that's what you want, right? You want good vigor being passed down to the offspring. This is the only time that the queen mates. She will, after this mating flight, go back to the hive and be there for potentially the rest of her life. But she will never mate again. And so it's important that there are good mating opportunities and plenty of drones available in the area. Now let's talk about specific sort of geography and real areas rather than hypothetical drone congregation areas. This icon on the map here, this little bee in the center of the map here, is Magnolia Bee and Supply. Small apiary there at the store, and we're going to, for this exercise, assume that there are bees leaving that apiary to go out and participate in these mating rituals that occur. So when the drones leave the colony, they prefer to do all of their mating within about 1.5 miles of the colony. So this 1.5 mile circle here around Magnolia Bee and Supply is where the drones from that apiary are going to seek out and collect into drone congregation areas and seek to mate with any queens that enter those drone congregation areas. Now, let's look at the queens. The queens travel more than 1.5 miles from the apiary before they mate, up to about 4 miles. So this sort of donut area here between the red and the green circles are where the queens will be mating from that apiary. So this is the way in nature they avoid inbreeding as much as possible, is by assuring that the drones and the queens prefer to travel different distances from the home colony before they mate. So this ensures that you don't have first and second order inbreeding, and that new virgin queens aren't breeding with their brothers. So obviously that presents a problem, or let's say it poses a question. If my queens are leaving my apiary and not mating with the drones from my apiary, how do I know what drones they are mating with? And how do I ensure that the genetics that I want, if I'm trying to maintain a specific line of bees, are preserved? And the answer is you don't. These queens will go out and they will be open mated from drones from other apiaries in the area or from wild colonies in the area. You have no control, and you really don't have any idea where they come from. So the only way around that, 100% around that, is to take virgin queens and do instrumental insemination where you've collected semen from known drones. But that doesn't mean we can't do a little research, do some thought exercises, and maybe stack the deck a little bit in our favor. So let's add something else to the map here. This is my apiary. You'll see that the drone area for my apiary and Magnolia Bee and Supply don't really overlap at all. However, I am providing a pool of drones into the queen mating area for Magnolia Bee and Supply, and Magnolia Bee and Supply is providing a pool of drones into the mating area for my apiary. So if we chose to work together and raise a similar line of bees, or to both select for specific traits, then we can potentially influence the chances that our queens will mate with drones of desired genetics. Now, what if we wanted to stack the deck even a little bit more? Well, if we wanted to stack the deck a little bit more, maybe we go put a yard here, another small apiary here, and we allow drones to be produced from that area, but we still do all of our queen mating in one of these other two apiaries. Well, this circle that I've just added to the screen, you see it well overlaps with both the areas that my queens will be in and Magnolia Bee and Supply in. Let's say we want to take that a little bit further. Maybe we would find an area over here to put another apiary. Again, with the goal to produce drones of known genetics to send out as mating partners to our queens that go out on nuptial flights. And if you wanted to take that a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further, you could completely surround your apiary with yards, just with the whole goal to blanket the area with known genetics, yet do all of your queen mating from the central apiary, That way you've provided as many mating partners as possible for your virgin queens when they go out on their nuptial flights. This is exactly what commercial queen breeders do. They seek to saturate the area around their mating yards with bees of their desired genetics. So let's remove these hypotheticals and look at some more real-world examples. This is Dan and Kay Browse's apiary. You'll see that it overlaps quite nicely with the queen mating areas of both Magnolia Bee and Supply, and to a somewhat lesser extent to my own apiary. But in general, these three apiaries are all providing possible mating partners for one another and possibly sharing genetics, assuming that our bees come together in the same drone congregation areas. Let's take it one step further. This is Doris, Bee and Sweet Honey and Bees. So she's a little bit farther to the east, so she doesn't really share any drones into the mating areas for Magnolia Bee and Supply's queens. Maybe just a little tiny bit on the very eastern periphery of the queen mating area for Magnolia Bee and Supply. But really, she is providing drones into my queen mating area and the area for Dan and Kay. And we are, of course, providing drones into her queen mating areas. So this is just an example of how, with a little bit of mapping, you can kind of get an idea maybe of where some of your genetics are coming from. And with a bunch of beekeepers in a close area, you can kind of maybe, if you work together and start stack the deck in the favors for, of your selected genetics and your selected line of bees. That's assumed there's any consensus at all among the apiaries as to the line of bees that they want to raise or the traits that they are looking for. So how can this help us? Maybe not at all. However, I think it's kind of fun to look at just as a mental exercise to wonder what's going on. So to that end, I have an ask here. We're actually building this map. This is a real map. So if you would consent to your apiary being placed on this map, then if you'll contact myself, Scott Mills, or Andy Knight at Magnolia Bee and Supply and provide us the location of your apiary, we will put it on the map. So what we'll need is a good address that Google Maps can find, as close as possible of an address to your actual apiary location, or GPS coordinates or a dropped pin on a Google map, as close as possible. And even better if you could take this a step farther and tell something about your bees and the source of those bees. Maybe they're just local mutts, caught a swarm, local mutts. That's great. Tell us that. Maybe you purchased them from BeeWeaver. Wonderful. Maybe you purchased them from the Bee Supply and their Texas 500. Maybe you know you have pole line hygienic bees. Wonderful. Maybe you know they're Italians or they're Caucasians or they're Carniolans or they're Russians or they're Saskatraz or they're Buckfast. Any of those lines of bees. Great. All of those are cool things that are interesting to know, both so that we'll know what's in our area and maybe so if club members are looking for something specific, they can see what's in the area. And it gives us an opportunity to collaborate and work together. So if you've got a little bit of a larger apiary, one of the best ways to ensure that your genetics saturate the area is work with your local club members. And if somebody needs a queen, and you have a spare queen, give them one. You've then spread your genetic reach. You've then provided more mating partners in that next generation of drones back to your own apiary. So if you choose to participate with us, then in return, what we will do is we'll send you a link of the map that has all of this information on it. And so you'll be able to look and see what's in the area. If you choose not to participate, then we understand. Uh, so we'll check back on this periodically. You don't have to choose now to participate. You can choose next year. I expect the map will be something that we hope to maintain for a while. And, let's, understand that this may never be useful to anyone, but I do think it is a fun way for the club to interact and just an interesting way to look at a map of our area. So, thank you very much. I hope you all stay happy, healthy, and safe. I hope to see you at our next club meetings, which are always the second Tuesday of the month, and typically at the Magnolia Community Center, unless that is being used on Election Day, in which case we are typically back at Magnolia Bee and Supply. So, everybody stay safe. See you soon. Thank you. This is Scott Mills with the Magnolia Swarm Beekeepers Club.